Hi, I'm Cora Arden. I will be reading my one fan fiction called You're Legally Mine, Chapter 1, The Little Plant. May 18th, 2015 at 1:31 p.m. Versus point of view. I've been in the hospital now when my crush, my obsession. Something about him drives me crazy. Maybe it was the guy's accent, maybe his beautiful blue eyes that mesmerized any girl. I looked at his pink soft lips as I traced them gently and held his hand, biting my lips slightly. He was in a horrible car accident, and I've been here waiting for months for him to wake up. I yawned softly and laid my head down as I slowly closed my eyes because I needed some rest since I've been in the hospital with him for 3 months. I've been hoping and dreaming that Niall would wake up, so all my worries can wash away and I see his beautiful blue eyes. I held his hand I held his hands to my face and pressed as my eyes stayed on his peaceful face. My eyes went up to the heart monitor, checking to see if there was still a heartbeat, which there was. I moved my eyes back to his beautiful sculptured face as a tear descended my cheeks. I just needed him to wake up so we could be together forever. I hated seeing him with all the tubes stuck up into his body as I traced a random pattern on the back of his hand that I was still holding. Hopefully he woke up really soon. Oh, May 19th, 2015, 1:05 a.m. Versus point of view, I lazily opened my eyes and I felt something staring at my back loudly when I saw my eyelids fluttered open slightly. I cupped his angelic face and smiled calmly, seeing him awake from these horrible long 3 months. I gently ran my fingers through his disheveled hair as my eyes were locking upon upon waking up with right now. Right now. I kissed his forehead gently and smiling sweetly, lovely, and whispered, "Hi, baby." Now opened his eyes gradually and looked up at me in confusion as he frowned. What happened, Carissa? No, I'm your wife, I frowned insignificantly and said as I brushed his hair back and his nose. He deliberately sat up with widened eyes and shook his head as I quickly moved my hands away from his face as he said, "No, I'm not married to you, or at all. I would have remembered the wedding." I sat down by his bedside and kissed his face gently, nodding lightly as I looked into his blue eyes and said, "Yes, we're married, but for a few months ago, you got into a terrible car accident. I was scared that you wouldn't make it." He pushed my hands off of his face and said, "No, I'm not married. Yes, we're even wearing our wedding rings, baby." I held his hand and showed his as I told him, "No, I don't believe you." I shook my head and sighed softly as I pulled out our marriage certificate out of my purse and showed it to him. I sat back down, looked at him, and traced random patterns on his hands, wait, waiting for his reaction to our marriage. I pulled my right leg over my left as I moved my ankle quickly and twirled a strand of my hair around my index finger, looking at him with my light blue eyes. "I can't believe it. We're married and I don't remember at all now." I kept looking at the certificate with shocked eyes. "Well, the doctor did say you hit your head badly, but you would lose the memory, and I guess it was our wedding that was the memory you have forgotten." I bit my lip slightly and touched his bandage as I listened. He had some stitches, but not a lot. But a few. But a few. A few, but a few, but a few. Mal looked at my hand and asked, "Where is everyone, Clarissa?" I held his hand gently and licked my lips slowly, forgetting I was wearing lip gloss. on as I looked for Destiny and Liam getting their stuff done. Harry went out with some stuff with Eleanor. I was so sad because I really was rooting for Eleanor. Uh, his eyes widened again and his mouth wide open as he said, "What? Eleanor and Lee broke up? I can't believe it. What happened? I've been missing since that car crash. Did Destiny and Liam get married without me at their wedding?" I shook my head and said no, they're just getting their house set and unpacked and everything was there. So they don't have to do that after. So after they get back from their honeymoon, knowing that they'll be exhausted from the traveling, probably the making they'll do constantly. He laid his head on his soft and fluffy pillow as he nodded and said that would make sense since he has a lot of clothes in his closet. You're right about that. Between you and me, she's like my personal store when I go over to her. Well, her former house. I laughed softly and stroked his cheek gently as I watched her with loving eyes. He shook his head and laughed loudly like he wasn't even in a car crash at all. His laugh really does light up my world. And his loving smile to make anyone else smile. He gently held my hand and kissed the back of her sweet face before he placed his head down on the warm, soft blanket. So, is the doctor coming to see if I'm up or not? I completely forgot about talking to the doctor and kissed his forehead softly as I got out of the chair that was sitting next to his bed and walked out of the room. I closed the door gently after seeing him fall back to sleep as I leaned on the wall, sighing happily because it was going according to plan. It was completely It was completely graceful and style things that we were actually married. I walked around the hospital to find this doctor, and once I did find a doctor, I told the doctor that now I'm woken up from a 3-month coma. I listened that now to leave tomorrow after a day's observation before I take the doctor went back. Susan sitting back down in the chair and grabbing his hand carefully. Alyssa, you'll be out of here tomorrow, okay? He laid down with my head, and I pulled the cover cushion as I held him close enough and could sleep in my bed. Normal, but I promise unless I'm hungry. I giggled, nodding my head and whispered, sure, baby. I got in the same bed as him and got under the covers as I wrapped my arm around him and kissed his cheek softly. I couldn't sleep. I was finally falling asleep next to Matterhorn as I watched him close his eyes and smiled softly. He seemed so peaceful when he was asleep I slowly traced my fingers on the outline of his soft pink lips. I nuzzled my head into the crook of his neck and smiled brightly as I took his hand and intertwined our fingers together, closing my eyes and going to sleep. May 20th, 2015, 11:30 a.m. First point of view. I sat on the end of the bed as I waited for Niall to come out of the bathroom while I looked through my Twitter, seeing everyone knew that Niall was getting out of the hospital. It's crazy how good news can spread quickly like a wildfire, but that's the life of a famous person. People people what you do before know what you do before it even happens. I heard the bathroom door open as I looked up from my phone and saw Nana walking out of the room with the hospital gown in his hand. I smiled softly and asked, locking my phone, putting it back in the purse, "Are you ready to go now?" "I guess so." I stood up from the bed and grabbed my purse. Laptop. Oh, laptop. I stood up from the bed and grabbed my purse as I fixed my hair and grabbed his bag. Now looked at me and shook his head like he was saying no, since he didn't want me to carry two bags for him. I gently placed my hand on his arm and smiled sweetly, telling him that it wasn't a big deal for me carrying his bag with my purse. I kissed his cheek softly and smiled brightly when I saw him blush. Now, as I slowly took his hand in mine, and locked our fingers together, I looked at him and asked, "Are you good now?" "Yeah, I'm good now," Seth nodded slightly, saying slightly and opening the door as he walked out of the room. Oh, of the room holding my hand. "That's good, ready to go home?" I asked as I put my sunglasses on and took my car keys out of my purse while we walked out of the hospital together and covered our eyes since the paparazzi were getting pictures of us since we were both famous. We walked out of the car as he said, "Yeah, I'm ready to go home." I nodded and got into the car keys out of my purse while we walked out of the hospital together. I nodded and got in the driver's seat as I put the key in the ignition, started the car up, back it out of the parking spot before I put the car in drive and drove back to our house. Thankfully, I got my stuff over at his place, so he really did believe that we were married. Once I parked the car in the driveway, I turned the car off and took the key out of the ignition. I got out of the car and grabbed his bag. Before I helped him out of the car, I held his hand and walked to the front door as I fished for the key in my purse and unlocked the door once I found the key to the door, and we walked in the house as I took my heels off and placed my purse on the hook with the key. Now asked, "Could you make me a sandwich, please, Prince?" I smiled softly and kissed his cheek before I said, "Sure, I will. Thank you." Now said, as I walked into the kitchen and made a quick sandwich, placing it on a plate and walking out of the kitchen. I looked around and saw his shoes were next to mine. As I walked upstairs and called his name out, I heard a response from him. As I walked in the room and saw him laying on his bed, I placed the sandwich next to his bedside. Before I laid down next to him and cuddled up to him, I wrapped my arms around the circle and nuzzled my neck, face into the circle to touch. "Are you tired, babe?" I whispered as I played with his hair and kissed his cheek sweetly again. He nodded his head and yawned loudly as he gradually closed his eyes. His breathing started becoming steady and quiet. I couldn't help but watch the sleep. As I pulled the cover over us, I kept hugging him. Will Carissa's plan be perfect, or will it fall before her eyes? We'll now find out about her crazy devious. Read chapter 2 to find out.